Hey everybody, I'm Jason Mefford. I'm back with Brad Miller, and we are walking a spiritual path with you today. And today we want to talk about today for you, tomorrow for me. And we've talked about the concept of ayni before, but I think this is it's another way of saying it, right? Today for you, tomorrow for me. But it can also be misunderstood. Because I think when a lot of people look at that, it seems like it's quid pro quo.
Right.
Like I'm doing something for you today because I'm going to expect you to scratch my back tomorrow, you know,
Mhm.
and it has to be tit for tat. And that's not what we're talking about exactly. And so we're going to try to explain that because again, on social media, had a little back and forth on that Brad Brad and I have had in the comments on one of my posts, with the today for you, tomorrow for me. Um, so what you got, Brad?
Yeah. No, I mean, for those of you may used to recognize that saying, they may say, "Where have I heard that before?" Well, it's a song in the musical Rent. That's one of the songs today for you, tomorrow for me. They sing, um, and like you said, it's not a you do this for me today, and then or I do this for you today, and then you do this for you tomorrow. It's not a reciprocal relationship in that sense, where it's an expectation of giving for the purpose of gaining. Um, the idea is that I know that if I do something today for you, for someone else, that at some point it's going to come back to me in some way. I mean, that's because that's how the universe works. That if I help others, if I go out of my way to help the old lady cross the street, if I pay for the coffee for the person behind me. Um, if I do just the little things like that, which are helping other humans out, be there. If I help the animal, that's injured. It's not that tomorrow that animal's going to come back and do something for me necessarily. Maybe, but it's at some point I'm going to get something kindness returned to me. Um, maybe I get stopped inside the road, flat tire, and someone comes and helps. You know, um, maybe I forget my wallet and find out that the person ahead of me paid for my coffee someday. You know, um, it's not a I'm going to get something. It's the way the universe works. It's spreading kindness, knowing that as you spread that, as you share that kindness, as you do those acts, that they'll come around. And someday when you need it, kindness will be shown to you as well. That's not why you're doing it. You're not doing it because you expect that time when you forget your wallet that somebody's going to pay for your coffee, because it doesn't work that way. But sometimes when you're least expecting it, usually, in most need of kindness, of help, of assistance, of service from someone else, from the universe, it's going to come back to you. And that little bit of kindness will come back to your life.
Well, I think also it's because when we use the word reciprocity as an example, most people understand that to be the quid pro quo, right?
Mhm.
Equal exchange, right? Reciprocity. But it's really about general reciprocity, which another movie that's out there that people may have seen or may not is Pay It Forward, which is, the whole idea of, doing some act of kindness for someone without expecting results. But obviously people typically want to do something for someone who's helped them. And so the idea is no, you pay it forward, right? You don't have to do anything for me, to me, for me. right? I did this out of the kindness of my heart, out of love for you. I really don't expect anything in reply to it, but the next time you have an opportunity to help someone else, express your gratitude for maybe what I have done by helping someone else.
Mhm.
Pay it forward. Don't pay it back to me, but pay it forward. And to
Mhm.
me, it's a beautiful concept. And imagine what the world would be like if everyone did that. Every kind act that happens gets forwarded to somebody else. And eventually you know, you're never buying coffee for yourself because in the extreme example. Now, are you? Because yeah, you're paying for somebody else, right? But it's interesting, and I think too, we've been taught that when we give, we should expect in return. So I'm not a Grinch in that I hate Christmas, right? Because I love what it represents. What I don't like about it is the reciprocal expectation, of you go to a party and oh my gosh, somebody gave me a gift. Oh shit, now I got to go buy them a gift,
Right.
right? That's what we tend to think of is, if somebody got me a gift, then I'm supposed to get them a gift. And that's just an icky feeling, for me. If I give somebody a gift, it's because I do it out of my heart. I'm not expecting anything back. I don't want anything back, right? Because here's a real life example, right? We went over to some people's house and took their kids some gift. I don't remember what it was. It was around Christmas time. And, all of a sudden, I don't think they had done this before, but they weren't expecting us to have done that.
Mhm.
And so the wife kind of goes in the other room and sudden comes out with this bag of stuff for us. Oh, here's for you. And literally it was like regifting stuff, which, so no thought went into it other than, oh no, they gave our kids a gift, so we got to give them something.
Right.
Right?
So it's a sense of
Literally,
obligation.
it's an obligation. It becomes an obligation, and that's icky energy as opposed to love, or true gratitude. And so, one of the things that was in this box was like a uh, aromatherapy diffuser, some kind of thing, right? Well, it had never been opened. There was dust on the top of the box, right? So the person didn't even wipe the box off. So it had been sitting who knows where in their house for so long, right? And
Mhm.
again, it's just the energy that goes with it, right? That we shouldn't be having any expectation, and we should just be doing things out of kindness and out of love, unconditional love
Mhm.
for other people, not expecting them to do anything else for us, right? And so, a lot of people may, um, well, I'll just give the example here. I think we talked about this before, right? Where one day Brad found
Mhm.
um, that sent me a couple of things
Mhm.
in the mail, which I know comes from the kindness of his heart. He something just came into his awareness, and he's like, Jason needs that, and
Mhm.
so he buys it and he sends it to me. Now, am I a bad friend because I don't send Brad a gift back?
Yes, probably. No.
I I
Just
hope
kidding.
I
No.
hope not. I hope not.
No, no.
But a lot of people in the world would believe that. They think, "Oh,
Right.
Jason, what kind of a schmuck are you? Brad sends you a gift and you don't send him a gift." Well, I'm sending Brad other things that don't come wrapped up in a little box with a bow on it, right? Um, and so it's not always in physical things too, which I think is important as well,
Mhm.
right? Is we're not just talking about 3D gifts. Today for you, tomorrow for me. Well, is forgiveness a gift? Yeah.
Mhm.
Is listening to someone a gift? Yeah, right? For people who need to be heard. Is sending love to someone a gift? Yes.
Mhm.
Is sending healing energy to someone a gift?
Mhm.
Yes. Right? I mean, there's so many other things where this is applied to as well. And and to me it's, again, as we get to that point of unconditional love, unconditional gratitude, that peace, that true gratitude that we feel in our hearts, that's what this is all about. Imagine if every action that we did came from that place,
Mhm.
right? What this world would be like. And that's, just again, it's a tip of the iceberg. We're
Mhm.
taught this spiritual lesson of ayni, today for you, tomorrow for me, pay it forward, whatever you want to call it, right? It's a simple, simple thing, but the more we practice it, the deeper we understand what it actually means. And it starts to take on and mean things different as we're moving through life.
Mhm. Yeah, talk about the idea of peeling the onion back, and every time you move forward, you peel one onion off. You think you got that one. Oh, look, the onion's got another layer to peel off, and you get more down, move more towards the core. You get deeper into it. Um, you learn this piece, you learn this piece. You now have more of the onion you understand. But I mean, I don't think we ever get down to the core of the onion ever. There's always a other layer to peel off. There's always more that we can learn about what it is, and it's not book learning. It's not something that you can read that someone can tell you, and you're like, "Oh, sounds good. Yep, that layer's done. Next layer." No, it's something you have to live. It's something you have to experience that has to be part of you. And that I think particularly when it comes to this idea of ayni, of reciprocity, and all this, it's not something you can just read or listen to us tell you about and say, oh well, if you give to somebody today, eventually it's going to come back to you in some capacity. Sounds great, got it. All right, what's the next lesson? No, like that's not it. You don't really have it at that point. You might understand the concept, but you don't actually know that until you've done it, until you have been selfless in giving and in helping others and doing things for others. And then you've seen how everything ultimately comes back and helps the world, helps other people, helps you in different ways. Only then can you really know what is we're talking about.
Yeah, there's kind of another side to this as well, too, which permeates in our society as well, of giving people what they're owed.
Mm.
And again, the words may not come out right, so you just got to kind of feel what I'm trying to say here. But this happens a lot. I actually had this yesterday where it's a person that I've known for many years. They did buy a couple of courses from me. They talked about joining my coaching program, my executive group, back and forth and back and forth. And I have, I do consult people. I have links where people can pay, for my coaching or consulting services. But I have a few links that are kind of practice development related, right? Like if somebody's going to sign up for higher priced package, I may talk to somebody without charging them, right, to answer some questions as business development. I only have, I think, like two or three calendar links that I don't charge for. The rest of it I charge for. And so this person signed up using one of those links. So I thought they were interested in talking about this executive program again. That's what that's for.
Sure.
And I get on and no. It wasn't about that. She didn't even remember the name of it. What's that again? It's like you use that link to sign up for a call for me when really what she wanted was 45 minutes of free consulting. And what's interesting is it's it's kind of what we talked about on one of these other episodes. I think the other episode we recorded today. But when people pay, they pay attention, right? And so
Mm,
all the questions she was asking me are answered in a lot of detail in many hours worth of courses, right? But she was wanting the quick answer.
mm,
And it's like, a lot of things wrong with this that goes against ayni, right? Which is, okay, she paid me for a course, value for money, value for service, right? Now she's asking me things that are outside of that, something that's different. So again, should I be compensated somehow for that? And the answer is yes, because it's something different. Okay. That's why I created other courses. You want the answer to that question? It's in this course. Go buy the course, right? Or pay me for my time, right? One of the two. But I think this is where it's another subtlety that ends up in our society a lot, where it's that expectation or entitlement feeling.
mm,
And so, Aini, one of the reasons for today for you, tomorrow for me, is to express our gratitude and our understanding of the value or the help that we're receiving. And it doesn't always necessarily need to be, monetary or even equal the monetary value of it. And so, an example of this is, in any of the ancient traditions, if you go and you visit a healer, a shaman, a medicine person, an elder in the tribe, right? You're coming to them for assistance, maybe to help heal, for guidance, you know. You never go to those people empty-handed, right? In every society, you show up with a little gift. It's whatever you can do, whatever, feels right, whatever comes from the heart. You could show up literally with $1 if that's all the money you have, right? You could show up with $1 million. You could show up with a box of tea. You could show up with anything, but you show up with something, even if it's love and gratitude in your heart,
mhm.
you know, but as opposed to showing up with expectations. And so I think that's what I'm trying to explain. This person yesterday showed up with expectations without wanting to compensate me somehow for it. And again, I'm not talking about the money, you know, um, if that's making sense,
Yeah.
because I think it's also about us, appreciating and being grateful for the help that we receive and doing something for that person today for the benefit or the help they're giving to us. And I know in our society we always talk in terms of money, but it's not just about money. There are some commercial transactions. Yes, you go into a store, I want to buy that thing. They have a price tag on it. I give them the $20. I get to walk out with it. That's tit for tat, right? Quid pro quo. You want $20, I give you $20, you give me the product. That's transactional. But our interactions with other human beings, right, shouldn't be transactional. And so it's another subtlety here too of You can show up with feelings of expectation and entitlement, or you can show up with gratitude and love
Mhm.
and appreciation and show that in some way to that person.
Yeah, I think that's a really good maybe distinction that maybe needs to be drawn out a little bit more is you talk is kind of the idea of this exchange is ayni, this reciprocity, this today for you, tomorrow for me concept versus the idea of exchanging of energy. Because you talked about, your course, for instance. Um, there was an expectation that she gives that she's looking for something, in this case, consulting answers, whatever it might have been. And the idea that that there needs to be some sort of exchange of energy for that. And I think that's related to it, maybe not exactly the same as this idea of I need we talk about with playing it forward, pass it forward, whatever. Um, and maybe that's something that maybe we can kind of talk a little bit more about that, so people aren't confused by like say, hey, if I want somebody to do something for me, I should compensate them the energy, exchange of energy somehow. That's why it's okay to charge for things that you do, the service you provide, things like that. But that's not the same thing as paying it forward, as the exchange that we're talking about with ayni and things like that.
Well, but it is in a way too,
Right, they're definitely
because
related. Yes.
they're related too, because it's for example, if I um there needs to be some kind of irony in every transaction in a way. And so, but it needs to be for the transaction. And again, I'm using a word that doesn't quite mean what I'm trying to say here. But it's like going into a store and saying, "Hey, I want that clock." So I pay $20 and I get that clock, right? Because we've agreed commercially that, hey, you know, I've got a $20 price tag on it, fine. Or maybe we haggle, right? Maybe Brad's a good haggler and he gets me down to $15. And even though there's a $20 price tag on it, we haggle it down $15, he walks out the door. I'm happy, he's happy, right? Transaction is balanced, energy is balanced at that point. But, what if even in that transaction, Brad turns around and says, Jason, I appreciate you taking that extra $5 off. It's a little thing. You're not giving me any more money, but you're giving credit where credit's due, right? You're balancing or giving, but it's got to come out of the kindness of your heart, and you got to really
Sure.
mean it,
Hmm.
right? But if you're grateful, you know, when somebody, you're in a restaurant and somebody gives you wonderful service, you're going to pay the money. You get to decide here in the US how much of a tip you give, fine. But can we give more than that? Can we say, gosh, Betty, that was wonderful service. Thank you so much for helping us out today. Doesn't take much, but it's the spirit of the whole thing behind it, right?
Hmm.
But we also can't walk into a restaurant and say, last week I bought a really expensive dinner. So I'm here this week to get a free sandwich from you because I spent a lot of money with you last week. We all know that's not right, right? Or I think most of us would think that's not right. Just like if you've done something for one particular thing, right? Like going to the healer, you know, coming and showing up and doing something. for them and then coming back later and saying, "Hey, remember you healed me last week? Well, now I want something else from you." That's a different energy.
Mhm.
That's an energy of expectation, of entitlement, right? As
Mhm.
opposed to, "Oh my goodness, thank you for helping me last week. I really could use some more assistance," right? Coming forward with open hands that way.
Mhm.
Um, because it's the energy. It's the
Mhm.
energy behind it. Whether it's, like you said, paying it forward to someone else. I do something nice for Brad. Brad does something nice for somebody else. Somebody else does something nice for somebody else. And boom, 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 right? And maybe it'll come back around to me in some way. I mean, karma, that's what it's about. But the timing, the expectation of what it is, we can't be tied to because then that's the negative energy. That's the expectation. That's the entitlement, as opposed to the gratitude and the love, whether it comes back or not again, not my concern.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I know the word that you were just kind of struggling with, it didn't seem was kind of transactional. Um, as you're talking there, I kind of see two sides of it. So the transactional is I want this item, here's your $20 for it. That's a transaction. That's you know, really when we come to this idea of ayni of paying it forward, it's more of a relational situation. Because it's not dealing with just here's this, here's that, thank you, we're on our way. It's more of the relation that we have with others, the interactions that we have. Energy is a big part of it, the energy between people. Um, so I don't know if that maybe helps.
Yeah, and it's even when, like I said, I don't want to conflate this, but it's sometimes it's hard to put in words things that we know, right? And so even in what would be considered a commercial 3D transaction, this idea of ayni is also tied into that as well, and the energy that we bring forward to it, right? Is if you go into a store and you're a horse's ass to the salesperson, right? You are just, can't be pleased, entitled, I'm so great, oh my, whatever. And then we pay for whatever they've, set the $20 at. Well,
Mhm.
we walk away thinking that, well, that's a commercial transaction, $20 for 20. No, guess what? You just took from that person. You might have given them the $20, but you stole energy from them by being a horse's ass and being entitled. And you hurt yourself, but you also hurt the other person, right? And so, in a way, that is not any. You are taking for yourself when you do that, right? And so, how we do things, is also important. Now, if it's a place where you can haggle, and that's, hey, go at it, have fun negotiating with the other person. But at the end of the day, right? Don't do it from a place of meanness or anger or whatever else. Do it for the fun of a haggle. Some people love to haggle. I don't, right? Um, but still come from a good energy place. How hard is it to say, hey Brad, thanks for giving me $5 off. It was fun. It was fun haggling with you, right? Because I know that Brad needs to make money and I shouldn't be angry about that. Think it's unfair that Brad earns money, right? Because there's some of that built into this as well, right? I don't expect Brad to go buy something for $10 and sell it to me for $10 because there was energy that went into that brought that thing to me. So I should be willing to either have the price marked up in the way we do it commercial normally, or to say something like, let's say again that there's something that I've been looking for, and Brad finds it and he buys it and it costs him $10. It's like, hey, Jason, I know you've been looking for this. Let me, I found it for you. Great, Brad. How much did it cost you? Because I want to reimburse you for it. Right. So you tell me it cost me $10. You're like, no, it's a gift. I'm like, no, please. I want to reimburse you, right, for what it was. I could just do that and stop. Balanced. But what if I do something else? I give you the $10 and I give you something else. Whatever that is, that's ayni too.
Mhm.
More for you. I'm not expecting you to lose money. I'm not expecting you to break even, right? And so this is a concept that works in the spiritual community I'm in, right? That when people have something like that, a lot of times again, we're not looking to make money. And so it's like, well, look, it cost me $10. Here you go. Just give me the $10. But it's never just the $10. Something else always comes back. Why? Because people know today for you, tomorrow for me, right? It may be a hug, $10 in a hug. That's all right. The hug is something, right? It may be $10 and here's another five because I know you put a bunch of time into it. Whatever it is, whatever comes from your heart. Not that there should be an expectation of what that is going to be. Because I think for the giver too, that's where there's a lot of the learning in it. Because often when we do give, there's a little part of us that's expecting something back of equal value.
Mhm.
Even though we try not to think that's the case, right? And so as the giver, we could be offended.
Mhm.
That's another thing that we have to be careful of,
Mhm.
you know, because it's the energy behind it, not necessarily a monetary value or anything else. Because I will tell you, to get a hug from some people, I'd pay a lot of money for that, right? And so but they don't charge for it, but it's worth a lot to me, right? And so when I receive that from the person and I receive love from the person, what do I want to do? Well, obviously, I'm going to do something back for them. I'm going to send love back to them too, if nothing else.
Mhm.
But I'm also going to take that love that's been shared with me and I want to share it with other people.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I kind of like it makes me think of the idea of we want to try to help everyone come out ahead. So yes, we give the $10 for this thing that they gave us, but we want them to come out ahead because we know that's what they paid for it. So what else can I do? I can show my gratitude. I can give them that hug. I can send that love. Maybe it is a couple extra dollars. Maybe it is I invite them over for dinner. Whatever it might be, but just something else because we want everyone. And then if we extend that out, just think of what the world would be like if that was our goal. Is that every time that we're interacting with someone else, we're always trying to help them come out ahead.
And in a way that is initiated because of our love and gratitude.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, the intention's critical.
Because to me, that's where a lot of the bigger thing is um, when you go to a convenience store, gas station, convenience store. You know you're going to pay more money, but I'm okay with that if I need it at the time, right? I'm willing to give more because of the convenience. I'm grateful
Mhm.
that a convenience store, I mean, here in
It's in
Sedona,
the name, convenience, right?
yeah, it's in the name, and here in Sedona, everything shuts down by between 5 and 8 for the most part, except for some of the grocery stores that stay open until 9 or 10. But if you need something at midnight, the only place is a couple of convenience stores in town that you can go get it, right? So there can be or should be, right? This feeling of gratitude. Oh, I'm glad that the Arco or the Circle K or the whatever is open right now. I'm grateful for them that it's
Mhm.
there, right? So I'm coming at it as opposed to like, oh, I can't believe these bastards, they're the only ones that are open and they charge me 10 times, 3 times more than I could get it at the grocery store. You see, you can approach it with two different energies.
Mhm.
And to me, this is a lot of what we're talking about here. It's not ayni, and you're not balancing or making the transaction better by being grumpy about it or being egotistical or being, arrogant about it or being the horse's ass when you're dealing with service people, in the restaurant or wherever, right? You're leaving that again, transaction, but it's not a transaction in a negative position as opposed to balancing or exceeding.
Mhm.
And I think that's where we should always be of at least equaling or exceeding everything that we're doing. But it's not monetary, right? If Brad sends me a $20 gift, something of $20 value, he's not expecting me to give him a gift worth $20
Right.
because that's not how it works. But I'm going to send love. I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to feel gratitude. I may send him something. I may not. But if I don't send something, Brad shouldn't feel like Jason. Can't believe that, Jason. Because then where are you going to go?
Mhm.
Right? Then you go to those negative spots, as opposed to however I respond should be okay with you if you truly did it from your heart without
Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
Right. So if you show up and you give me $100 and I pull out my lighter and I say, thanks, Brad, and I light the $100 bill and I let it just burn in front of you, shouldn't affect you.
It's
But
tough though.
part of you is going to be like, oh, give it back if you're not going to use it the way I wanted you to use it.
Right.
I wanted you to use that $100 to go buy yourself $100 worth of value. What if I wipe my ass with it? You gave me $100. I can use it however I want to. See, and this is where there's a flip side to it, is if we're truly doing it without expectation, and this is hard, believe me. I'm not
Yeah.
sitting here preaching from the choir, okay? But it's when we do something, we can't have expectations. People accept it, they don't accept it, we have to be okay with it.
Mhm.
If you go to somebody out of the kindness of your heart, with love in your heart, and forgive them for something, or ask for forgiveness for something that maybe you did that you realize was wrong, you come and apologize and ask for forgiveness. Well, if that person doesn't forgive you, it has nothing to do with you. But we want to be offended. But if we're giving that apology without expectation, whether they accept our apology or not, we should be okay with it.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's not easy.
it's not easy, and that's what I said. This is all this is a much deeper and much broader topic than just what we tend to think of transactionally in a way, or of showing up to the healer with something to give them, right? They
Hmm.
don't charge money, let's say, but we know that we need to balance or exceed the transaction. So we know we
Hmm.
want to show up with something, even if it's love in our heart and a big hug, that there's something that we're giving in a way. But again, if they don't accept it, not our issue, right? If they reciprocate by giving us something of greater value, then we also don't have to feel an obligation to, go back
Hmm.
and do something else either,
Right.
right? And like I said, I'm still navigating this and learning this, but I know it's sometimes it's that other side of it that's the tricky thing that you don't ever really think about until you start doing it. And then these things kind of
Hmm.
come up, and it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Right. And so, really, it should
Hmm.
be everything we do, every interaction that we have, we should balance or exceed
Hmm. Today and tomorrow, for you and
today
for
and
me.
tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So, today for you, tomorrow for me, huh? Is that making sense? I know I can't quite explain it the way I feel it, and I know it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's one of these things like trying to explain to someone how to ride a bicycle. You can say, oh, well, you have to put your foot here and you lean this way, and, but they're not going to get it until they actually do it. Like you can try your best and like you think of a certain way and somebody else is going to understand or think of a different way, but until they're actually there, like that's what it's going to take. And so, and I feel like a lot of the things that we talk about are that way as well. The spiritual path. There's a lot of things where we kind of just have to try to explain it the best, knowing that we'll get somebody 75% of the way there, but for them to get the rest of the way, they're going to have to actually go in and experience and do it. They're gonna have to hop on the bicycle and they're gonna work on the balance. Like, how do you explain to somebody how to balance on a bicycle? Right? Like, I think it's the same kind of thing. It's really almost impossible to do. That's something they just have to do, experience, and work on. And that's the same thing here. Like, they just have to work on the intentions, work on the gratitude. And once you get in it, then I think you get it. But until then, there's only so much the 3D that we can do when it comes to explanations, because that's the brain is not where this all lives.
no, and like you said, the intention part of it, the energy with which we are doing or saying things is so important to everything in the back.
Hmm.
And I think, sometimes I even go to an extreme in a way because I don't want to be tempted is not the right word either. But, for example, like, I'm on group chat text message things, right? And there's a lot of people who, when let's say somebody posts something in the group that's beneficial or helpful, right? Well, you can love it, like it, right? On the
Hmm.
the comment or the thing that they
React somehow.
do, react somehow to it. But there's a lot of people who feel the need to, oh my gosh, Brad, thank you so much. That's just so wonderful, right?
Hmm.
And maybe there's 20 people in the group, and 5 or 10 of the people feel obligated to do that. I don't.
Hmm.
I heart it. I do whatever. I saw it.
Hmm.
I send. love or gratitude and kind of do my thing in the ethers
Mhm.
about it. And why don't I respond back? Because I don't want to respond for what others may think. There a lot of people when they're responding to things like that, I know they think they're doing the right thing. But
It's ego,
what really is their intention behind it? And a lot of times it's ego, and they don't
yeah,
realize it. It's
right.
ego. It's ego to be seen. It's ego to let the person know how grateful I am for it.
Right.
Again, if the person is giving something in the group, they shouldn't care who responds back, who does anything with it either,
Mhm.
right? It's the same thing of giving me the $100 bill.
Yeah.
And so, our intention is so important, behind it that we've got to keep, why do I want to do this? Why do I not want to do this? What it really is my intention here,
Hmm.
right? I remember this is a while ago, but there was some guy that used to stand out on the corner here in Sedona, and we have homeless people that have the signs and everything, but this was some 20, 30-year-old nice looking guy, some probably online professional person or whatever, with the sign like "Have a great day" or something like that. I don't really remember what it was. What's his intention? I hope he has good intentions behind doing that. But why was he doing it? Was it so he could post on social media and show a picture of him out there doing that? I don't know.
Mm. Yeah.
Was it because he is truly believes that's his intention and that's really what he wants and he's doing it from a pure place? I don't know. But when I see, I think a lot of times we end up doing things that we don't realize and our ego gets in the way. And so I'm constantly trying to check myself on it,
Mm.
because same thing. I don't want to, somebody gives me a gift. I don't want to just give them a gift back. That's ego. Again, if I feel obligated to have to do that, or that's the expectation, right, that I have to do that,
Hmm.
and I want them to know how much I appreciated that gift, so I'm going to give them a gift back, that's ego
Hmm.
again. And so, like I said, it's
Yeah. It's just like the people who donate money to a university, let's say, or something, and to get their name on the building.
Mhm.
Why are they giving the money? Is it because they truly believe in the institution behind it, that they truly believe in its mission, that they truly want to help those people that are going to be using the building, or is it because they want a sign on the front that has John Smith or whatever the name is, Hall or something on it? Same thing. It's all about the intention.
Yeah. So anyway, I know we kind of went a
Yeah.
little bit on this one, but like I said, I'm just trying to share some of the things that I've been learning as I'm, going through this. Because
Hmm.
again, on the brush level, I thought, hey, okay, I understand this. I do a good job at it. And then the more I do it, the more I ride that bike, the more it's like, oh man, am I really actually doing that the right way? Is this, oh, it could mean this other stuff too.
Hmm.
Right. And I think, we don't want to get caught up. Um, and I can't remember. I think this is in the Bible somewhere, but I can't remember. But of not thinking about things in terms of money or 3D objects. To where I think the quote was something like this: "Gold and silver have I none, but what I have I give to thee freely." That it's not always about. money. It's not always about 3D objects. It's doing things from unconditional love and the kindness of your heart, whatever that may be. And the person who gives $1, who lives on $2 a day, that's big. And a lot of people would say, oh, they only gave $1. Yeah, because they're living on $2 a day. Are you grateful enough to give half of what you live on every day? If you're a millionaire. And again, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but don't judge either as part of it, because then what happens? Now you're back into ego again.
Yep.
So don't judge what people do, what people don't do as well, I think is part of this whole thing too.
Yeah.
So today for you, tomorrow for me, and a whole bunch of stuff in between.
Yep. So, well, this has been a longer one. So, with that, we'll wrap up, everybody. Thank you guys for listening. We don't expect money or goods, whatever like that. We won't say no if you want to send us things like that, but we don't expect any of it. Um, take what you will with what we've said today. We're just grateful that you're there listening. Um, take the time to spend the 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is with us today. So
Yep.
with that, we will thank you again, and we will catch you guys on our next episode.
All right. See you, everybody. Thanks.